All right, this is August Farm Answers, Day 4. And Jeff's got a great point with this, and this is kind of a continuation on from yesterday's question. I feel like, just like Jeff here, the older generation, a lot of times on a farm, especially a family farm, holds on to control too long. They hold on to the money too long. I hear, a lot of older farmers say, well, my son or daughter left the farm. They didn't stick around. They went and got married. They went and found them a job somewhere else. Well, a lot of them didn't get a pay raise from the time they were 13 or 15 years old. A 30-year-old person has got to make a living wage to be able to support their family. They've got to make it worthwhile because this is not the easiest occupation in the world. So if you want them to stick around, you got to pay them enough to keep them around. And I know not every farm's capable of paying 2 living salaries. And a lot of times I hear that the old farmer, he says, well, I got to take a pay cut if I do that. Well, if you've not made enough money to retire on comfortably by the time you're 65 and you've been farming 45 years on your own, you're not going to make it by the time you're 80. That 15 years is not going to make any bit of difference in that. In fact, the farm's actually going to go downhill. And a lot of that is a control issue. A lot of older farmers don't want to give up any control, any decision making. I know a lot of farmers that are in their 50s that they farm with their father and their father's still alive. And they've never made any decisions on the farm. I mean, never. The way I look at it, I would rather give up my control at 60 or 65 years old and let my son or daughter take control if they want to run the farm. I would rather them come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this, than me farm till I die and leave it to them. And they say, well, I wonder what Dad would have done. If I'm still here around, I can mentor, help them, continue trying to move the farm forward. And just doing it by just being there for them if they've got questions. If they, farms a lot of times have got to move different directions. You don't have to farm the same way your daddy did. It's just, I think that older generation holding on to farms longer is really what's screwing a lot of this up. And I think a lot of times everybody says, oh, this is the death of the family farm, or that's the death of the family.